Hi, I'm Dr. Bosh P. Jordan Jr., the pastor and founder of Hope Alive Outreach, and welcome to the Hope Doctor Speaks. So glad to have all of you all with us today. I'm Dr. Bosh P. Jordan Jr., the pastor and founder of Hope Alive Outreach, better known as the Hope Doctor. And we're here today to bring a message of hope. Our mission is to bring hope to those persons, especially those who suffer from the disease of addiction, primarily drugs and alcohol. Also, 5 days a week, we have something that we call the dose of hope, which is given by yours truly, 3 to 5 minutes on YouTube and also on Facebook Live. Now, if you go to our YouTube channel, it's located at Hope Alive Outreach. That's Hope Alive Outreach. And so if you go to Hope Alive Outreach and you subscribe, we'll be very much appreciative of that. Those of y'all who are listening, wherever you are on Facebook or on YouTube or on our website, we want to welcome you to our monthly broadcast of the Hope Doctor Speaks. We have some very interesting guests with us today who've taken their time to come out and to share with you some of their experiences, their strengths, and their hopes. If you'd like to get in contact with me, because you have a family member who suffers from the disease of addiction, you need to get into treatment, you need to get into detox, you can contact me at my email address at info@hopealiveoutreach.org. That's info@hopealiveoutreach.org. Or if you want to get in contact with me personally, maybe you might want to have me to come and to speak to your organization regarding addiction or even to talk about my book, The Pipe and the Pulpit, you can call me. That's the Hope Doctor at 443-250-9635. It's right there on your screen. Also, for all of you all who are listening today, if you have a comment or you have a question, you can put it in the comment section and we'll try to get to it as soon as possible. We have a great cast with us today, and I believe that this topic today, staying sharp in our recovery, staying sharp in our sobriety, will be of great interest to you. Okay, and I don't want to forget my producer, my wife of 39 years. Yeah, almost. It'll be 40 years as of July the 4th, and we thank God for her putting this together for us. The first guest I want to introduce is our co-host, Nicole, and Nicole is right here in Florida with us. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, and our next guest, I'll take the one that's farthest away, and that's Jihad. He's from Philadelphia. Jihad, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, glad to have you with us today. And Maggie is with us. Maggie's from New York. Maggie, how are you doing today? Can you hear us, Maggie?
Thanks for having me. Everything's wonderful. I'm sober.
All right. Glad to hear you. We have a kind of a bad connection, so if you can kind of move around a little bit, maybe we can get a better connection. And finally, we have with us Eric. And Eric, glad to have you with us today. All right. Eric, are you with us? I believe you're muted.
All right, I'm with you. I can hear you. Hi, everybody.
All right. Okay. One of the things that has been so disturbing to me is what's taking place now during this COVID-19. And last week, I had an interview with the Tampa Bay Times. A woman called me and wanted to know what my thoughts were on the fact that so many individuals were dying during this COVID-19. And in the process of me doing some research so I could get ready for the interview with her, I came across something that would be very interesting, I think, and informative to all of us. And this is from the Men's Health Network, February 24th, 2021, this year. He says that the opioid abuse epidemic in the United States was already urgent when COVID-19 pandemic began. But health authorities fear the virus has made the opioid epidemic even worse. How have we been staying sharp? How have we been staying clean, sober, in recovery during this pandemic? Let's start off with Eric.
Well, it's been interesting. It's been a lot of work. But what I can say is, you know, it's learning to, you had to very quickly think on your toes and learn how to think outside the box. The beginning of this pandemic was a good opportunity. It was a time where hopefully you had built your support system ahead of this. You'd really done that work, and you'd really made those connections. You had phone numbers you could call. You had people that you could lean on, people that you could reach out to. It took just a little bit of time, but pretty quick, all of the Zoom stuff started up, which actually for me in reality, because I travel for work, it actually made it easier, a little bit easier for me, just having the opportunity to hit meetings and resources all the time. I mean, now it's around the clock, and it's anywhere and it's everywhere. And I don't know, in the beginning it was a little bit scary, but once I kind of opened my mind and used all of those resources, it actually made it a little bit easier and more accessible.
Eric, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself? Like, how long have you been in recovery? What are you doing? Where are you in the whole scheme of things? Just take 2 or 3 minutes, and I want each of you all to do that when I call on you.
Okay, so I literally just last month had 2 years of sobriety on February 4th, and I really came crashing into the program. I had an unfortunate event that brought me to my knees and brought me in. So I'm glad I came in, though, because I needed to. I pretty much lost, not everything, but I lost a career that I had worked my entire life to build up to. And, I lost that. I had come into the program about a week before I got to the point where I lost that. So I'd already started kind of building a system of support. And, I found out very quickly, being in recovery and with others in recovery, these people care more than I even knew. I mean, from 1 week to the next, people were asking me questions, following up on stuff that I had talked about the week before. And I was like, holy crap, these people actually listen to me. So that was pretty impressive. It's been a wonderful journey for me. I'm in the AA program, and I had this lady in a meeting. I call her a crazy lady, but she was yelling like, booze, booze, booze gets you in the door. But once you're in the door, there's this whole nother world. So, but I travel full time for work. So it's not easy being, it's easy, but you have to work. You have to work to get to meetings or do meetings when you're constantly in other cities and on the road. I'm actually from St. Pete, but I'm in Indiana right now. So, that's where I'm at. I'm just past
Yes.
2 years and just constantly looking for opportunities to improve my sobriety.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, especially when you mentioned about having a network as a foundation. And I really think that's extremely important. Nicole, let's tell a little bit about our co-host and where you from and what you're doing and how much and how long you've been in recovery.
Sure. My name is Nicole. I've been in recovery for 11 years now. Been living in St. Pete since 2004, so I consider this, my home pretty much. I'm a born and bred Floridian. Don't hold it against me. Yeah, so that's kind of the introduction. And COVID changed everything in life, but especially recovery. And I like what Eric said about it's kind of more accessible with all of the Zoom meetings, because I found that to be true for myself as well. I am a mother. I have a teenager and a toddler, and they're varying schedules. And my varying schedule, I don't have a consistent schedule as a journalist. Mine's all over the place. Zoom has made it a lot easier for me to get to more meetings and stay in contact. I have like a weekly lunch date with my best friend in sobriety who moved to Portland, Oregon, so clear across the country. She's not someone that I could keep, that much contact with beforehand. So it is hard though. At least when we go somewhere, we have to physically remove ourselves from whatever it is we're doing and get to a meeting. It's not like that anymore. It can be easy to just decide to shut the computer down. So it is about having accountability partners in place, a sponsor, a group of friends, and it's about the commitment aspect of it. It really is a commitment, a daily commitment to, work recovery. So.
Okay. All right. Jihad, let's tell us a little bit about yourself and how just introduce yourself a couple of minutes so we can know a little bit about you.
Oh, I'm Jihad. I'm from Philadelphia. I've been in the recovery process for about 12 years. For 12 years, and more, my clean date is July 25th, 2008. I got introduced to recovery in the penitentiary. And you talked about how to keep your recovery sharp. Yeah. So it's just Eric said a lot, and Nicole said a lot also about just being connected. Like it's a wonderful thing to be connected and stay connected to not only to people but to a higher power. Of that conscious contact with my higher power always is major. And the Zoom meetings we still in Philadelphia, we still have open meetings. So it's open meetings and they never stopped. So it always was open meetings in Philadelphia, but the Zoom meetings played a big part because they talked about how the 24-hour access to meetings. So basically how I stay sharp is basically staying in the conversation of recovery. That helps me all around the board, being with like staying in the conversation with my family, staying in the conversation with people I don't know, staying wherever I'm at, I stay in the conversation of recovery. So that's what keeps me at my sharpest. And the ultimate thing is that higher power of staying in constant contact with him, and that helps me tremendously.
Thank you. And I'm quite sure we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on, Jihad. Maggie, let's tell a little bit about yourself, and we're looking forward to this.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So just we want to have you to tell a little bit about yourself now. A couple of minutes, and then we'll get into the.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm not known for being a short talker, so I'll try to really hard to make everything short and sweet. I have been in AA now for 14 years, and I became sober when I was 62 years old. So it's never really too late, is it? And it's the best thing and the hardest thing that I've ever done. But, the supports that I had and my, what do I want to call it? My determination that this would be something that I could do. I believe one of my favorite sayings is that excuse me, if I think I can do something, I can. And if I think I can't do something, I can't. So I'm a positive thinker. And what I have found is that all the tools that AA has provided for me to learn, to grow, to continue, realizing that I will always be an alcoholic. And I didn't like that when I first heard that. But what I'm enjoying most now, of course, is my sobriety and all of the friends who help me to stay strong. And I know that you're going to ask about some other things that we do too to stay strong. So I'll hold that until that moment. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much for just giving that introduction. And don't forget those individuals who are listening to us by way of Facebook or even by way of YouTube. If you'd like to give a comment or ask a question, please do that. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that's CDC, which was released in December of 2020, that's about a month and a half ago, they noted that 10 Western states saw opioid overdoses increase in 2020. And they said most of these deaths, more than 98%, are due to opioids, such as fentanyl, rather than abuse of more common opioids, such as hydrocodone, the CD said. I would imagine that some of us, if not all of us, are familiar with death since we've been around in recovery, since we've been around in sobriety. What do you think that individuals can possibly do to maintain their sobriety and maintain their recovery? It's also mentioned that due to the COVID-19, stress and isolation have had a lot to do with the deaths of individuals. Anybody can just jump right in there. Come on, Eric.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, all the tools that I have are what keeps me strong. And, those are an everyday thing for me, the daily reflections that help to keep me strong, the 12 steps, and going back and reviewing them and, making sure that I'm living in them. And if not, then, I made my sponsor, who I also have frequent contact with, always says to me, well, if you feel that you're not, step 9 isn't working for you right now, go back to step 8 and, just keep moving along. And that's really helped me a lot. The meetings, one of the favorite things that I have proven to me that others have said is that meeting makers make it. And when I first started, I went to 2 meetings every day for 2 years. And I don't say that as a pat on the back. I say that gave me a strong foundation. And now I would be lost without meetings. And so I do some Zoom meetings. And fortunately, there's a few meetings that we have here that are outdoor. And so I've gone to some of those meetings as well. But that support is just extremely important to me. That's what holds me up. The other thing is, God is my God of understanding. And every morning, I ask him to take away any desire, compulsion, or obsession to drink, because I know I can't do this by myself. And at the end of the day, I thank him for taking away the desire, compulsion, or obsession to drink. So those are some of the things that I have done to keep strong. And it's not easy. And yes, being out, having the isolation and being alone made it even more important for me to get on the phone and to communicate with people, because I really didn't like to do that. So that's been a great tie for me to be able to keep me strong and keep me motivated. And if I'm feeling, a little down or a little sad or a little just on in the world around me, I have to stay centered and stay in today, stay in the moment today. So AA helps me to do that. Thank you.
Yes. Maggie, you said something that I believe is very profound and important when you said that you didn't come into AA until you were age 62, which says it's never too late. It's never too late. How many years did you drink on a regular basis? Maggie?
That's right.
Yeah. How many years were you caught up in the alcohol?
That's right.
Into drinking?
And I didn't know that I was an alcoholic, and for a long time. Are you talking?
No, no, go
Probably
ahead.
since I was about 20.
All right.
So good, well
Okay.
over, well over, what did I say? It was, I think, and maybe even a little bit before that. So pretty close to 40 some
Okay.
odd years.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it was, and I remember when I first came in, I never dreamed or thought I was an alcoholic. I thought I was just doing what all my other friends did and, socialized and did all of that. And I found out that, when it got to the point that I was unable to function very well, that something wasn't quite right. And so that's what brought me. And I actually went into a short term that was a daytime rehab. And it was also that I did because they told me to go to me and to get a sponsor. Uh, that's what I did.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
really helped me. I hated being called an alcoholic. I thought that was underneath the bridge with a brown paper bag. And I found
The reason
out,
why
no, it's me.
the reason why I asked that question is because we might possibly have some individuals who will listen to this broadcast either today or tomorrow or next week or next month, and they may think that they are too far gone, that they're too old, that they can't get sober. But you and I both, matter of fact, all of us here, I believe, are an example of what our higher power can do without a little bit of our help. Yes.
And even for me, it's good to hear Maggie say that, because around my 1 year mark, I spent a lot of time, and I don't know why, but I had gotten in my head and just beat myself up that, God, I wish I could have just gotten in here sooner. Why did it take me so long? I had that, I don't know, for some reason, right around my 1 year, a year ago now, that was like my biggest thing in my head is like I had regret that I didn't come in the program sooner. And it's like, just like she said, it's never too late. It's never too
Yeah.
late.
Right. Yeah. And since I know you personally, Eric, I can say, since I saw you when you first came in, that there's been a complete change in your whole atmosphere, in attitude, your persona, the way you express yourself, your confidence. Because when you came around, you were a poor little puppy.
I was scared to death.
Yeah.
Don't talk
And
to
I
me.
want, what did you say?
I said, don't talk to me. Just let me sit here and listen.
Yes. And there may be some persons listening who are afraid to come to an AA meeting, afraid to come to a 12-step meeting. They don't know what to expect. Somebody give them some help. Give them some help. Give them some hope.
I mean, it's like just showing up is that's the major piece. Like, to show up. I used to be scared to go into meetings, and because I come from the North Philadelphia area, and I go to North Philadelphia is a real rugged area, and the meetings were so crowded. There's people outside of the meetings, and I used to be scared to go to the meeting, but realizing what ran me into the meeting, like realizing how bad it really was, because it was bad for me. I was a low bottom addict. I was addict that did a lot of things.
What was your drug of choice? What was your drug of choice, John?
Well, my drug of choice was drugs. The only thing I didn't do was shoot. I mean,
Okay.
that was my drug of choice, But because at the end of this rule, because I had a couple bottoms. I had a bottom with crack. I had a bottom with PCP. I had a bottom with pills. So my last bottom was with pills. You know what I mean? Because I thought I can do it different. I thought crack took me to a place that I didn't want to go, and then I switched to crack, and then I went to PCP. Then PCP took me where I didn't want to go. Then I went to pills. I said I'll do pills. So once I realized how bad it was out there. I knew it couldn't be that bad in there. So that's what it forced me to go to the meetings. So showing up at the meetings and being able to listen and hear other people get through what they get through, that's major.
Yes. And no matter what your age,
Yeah.
and no matter what your color, and no matter where you've come from, You know, you said that you were low bottom addict. Is that right?
Yeah.
But all of us know what we know what bottom is.
Yeah,
Don't we?
because I talked to a friend the other day, and she was talking about how, like, she didn't go to some of the extremes that other ones went to, and they was people was looking down to her, and I said, you gotta let your bottom be your bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta accept your bottom for that. Your bottom ain't gotta be as worse as ours, but the pain and the hurt of that is all the same. You know what I mean? No matter where you come from, high up or wherever, money, no money, wherever you come from, the pain is still the same. And
Yes.
get in touch with that's what I had to get in touch with.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's important.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
I was just going to say, just on the heels of what he said, I remember in my first week of meetings, somebody said something pretty profound to me. And I was standing talking to this guy after the meeting, and he was in a similar line of work to me. And of course, I'm just feeling sorry for myself and just whining is what I call it to him. But, he finally said to me, he goes, Eric, he goes, put the shovel down. You do not have to keep digging and making your bottom lower. Put the shovel down. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. I got to stop. I mean, it could get so much worse. It can always get worse if we let it, we decide where the bottom is, we decide where that is. And I'll never forget that. Put the shovel down.
That's the first time I've heard that.
That's the first time I've heard that too. And what I heard when I got sober, because I got sober at 22, and I had people say to me, I drank longer than you've been alive, and things like that. And I think we have to be, I understand it's in jest and everything, but we have to be really careful with that, because for a minute there, until I heard somebody tell my story, I was like, good God, do I belong here? And I absolutely belong here, because like you said, Jihad, it's the feelings, it's the inner turmoil that brought me in here. It wasn't that I hadn't lost everything yet. And it was a big yet, because everything was going out the door. It just hadn't got there yet. But it was that incomprehensible demoralization and the depression and the hopelessness that earned me my seat in this program.
One of the things that this recent report has shown, and that is through clinical testing for prescription drugs and illicit drugs. Clinical testing has declined during the pandemic, and positivity in drug testing has increased by 35% across the board, especially for non-prescribed fentanyl, 44% for heroin during the pandemic, and for other drugs by 89%. For benzodiazepines, 48%. And the low percentage of increase has been with cocaine, 34% increase. So my concern is people dying. I've had some friends of mine to die in AA. One of the ladies who was a good friend of mine, Denise, Maggie, you know Denise. Denise had 31 years sober, and then she relapsed. And when she came back to the rooms after 31 years, she got a couple of years, a year and a half, something like that, but it was difficult for her. And what happened was she stopped going to meetings. And if I can make any suggestion to anyone on keeping your recovery sharp like a razor, I'll say what they told me, what the old timers told me when I first came around. Go to as many meetings as to equate the number of times that you used. If you use every day, go to a meeting every day. If you use twice a day, every day, go to a meeting twice a day, every day. I would say take your recovery and your sobriety as seriously as you did your drinking or your drugging. That's serious, because I believe our recovery and our sobriety is more important than our history of using. And Jay Hart was talking about how he was scared to go into a meeting because they were coming out the doors. The thought came to me, I bet you were never scared to cop.
No, I wasn't scared to cop. That's why I say I thought about what ran me in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I said it can't be as scary as what it was out there.
That's right.
Can't be,
That's right. Yeah. Yes. And I can recall, and I was doing some reading today and was talking about recovery for individuals who smoke cigarettes. That was my gateway drug. And I don't hear too many people talking about that today. But people are dying today from nicotine.
Yeah.
Cancer. We don't. And one of the surveys that I saw, they said one of the surveys that I was reading was saying that one of the reasons why so many people are dying now from overdoses is because the coronavirus has taken the focus of politicians, legislators, and others off of drug addiction and placed it on coronavirus. So how do we stay sharp in our sobriety and our recovery?
That's the it's like you talked about it, like making the meetings. The meetings is major, because that's a major connection, because addiction is real, alcoholism is real, but recovery and sobriety is much stronger than them things. It's a proven fact that the 12-step programs work. Taking the 12 steps, getting introduced to yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what makes you trigger, staying connected with the people. Like we strong as a unit. When we isolate, that's what make us weak. You know what I mean? So I stay connected. I text over 200 individuals every morning, to stay connected individually, not group text. I put their name in it, and I express my gratitude for having them in my life. Staying connected is major. You have to, because when you get by yourself, you get up in your head. Reading positive literature. I read positive literature every day. I read positive literature. I reach out to my higher power first. I'm connected with my higher powers first. The gratitude list is major. And that was early recovery for me. But I can do a mental gratitude list just laying in bed before my head lift off the pillow. I do a mental gratitude list, just being thankful, and not only staying clean no matter what, but finding gratitude in the gift. What's the day? Having today, being grateful for that. If I don't be grateful for nothing else, he woke me up. I'm alive.
Yes,
I got another one. So that's major. You have to stay connected with the people. You have to find gratitude. Or you'll lose hope. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to lose hope. So what I do is I find gratitude no matter what. No matter what's going on. Wife with cancer, taking care of the 81-year-old mom, working in recovery. I run a 26-bed recovery house and a 10-bed shelter. So I'm in the mix all day long. I'm staying connected, with the people, with the literature, so staying optimistic and changing your perception on hardship. The Zoom meetings is major. You can connect 24 hours. I wake
around
up
the world.
around the world. I shared in UK last Sunday. major. Yeah. So, the connection is, you must connect. You must open your mind and don't let your mind tell you that these people don't like me. And, because all those things come to mind when you're new in recovery of like, they don't like me or I ain't going to fit in. No, stay open-minded. Listen, pay attention. That's all you got to pay. You don't got to pay no money. You got to pay attention though.
And if I could throw something in there, keep your recovery close to you. Keep your literature close to
you. Absolutely.
All right. Listen, when I was using, I carried my drugs with me wherever I went, either in the car, in the glove compartment, in the ashtray. I had a bottle of whiskey or something in the trunk. So now I just reverse it. Okay. Now I've got a 12-step book. I've got my literature in my study. I've got literature in my car. I got literature in my motorcycle. I got literature in my bedroom. And have any of you all ever prayed that prayed while you were using?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially when I ran out.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Or now where I'm from, Baltimore, the bars and the liquor stores closed at 2:00. So it was nothing like running to the liquor store at 5 minutes to 2. All right, and getting to the door and it's locked. All right, you all know what I did. What did I do, Eric?
I don't even want to know.
I banged on the door.
Please.
I banged on the door. Why? Because you can sell me one more. So that's the same kind of intensity that we need to have. I can't ever remember not getting high because it was raining, or because it was lightning, or because it was snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do to keep our recovery, to keep our sobriety sharp? If we think about it, Nicole, I can see you thinking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like what's been said too about sticking to those basics. Like, you get up in the morning and you practice gratitude and you check in with your higher power and you start with literature. That's all stuff that I learned in the beginning. And if you think about it, like, we don't just get rid of bad habits. We have to replace them with something. And so it's so important, especially right now when everything else is kind of messed up and nothing makes sense, to stick to those basics, to really hone in on that routine and like give ourselves the opportunity to start strong each day. I think that's been super important for me. It's been more important, I think, to check in with my higher power first thing in the morning and really get my head right and really make sure that I am picking up the phone and calling people and staying connected. And from a mental health perspective, I've got not one, but two anxiety disorders, and isolation is something that really comes naturally to me. And so making it a point to check in and read and then text or call someone, it's made a huge difference during all this insanity.
Yeah, because the piece where I met this lady. She was a Iranian Jew, and from a little old lady who started a program in the recovery house I was at, in the halfway house. And she told me, she said, Jihad, she said, you wanna get better with something, stay in that conversation. So I never leave a conversation of recovery. I stay in that conversation. I stay in the positive conversation. Like, because people say, I used to say I didn't watch the news because there was so much of so much darkness in the world, so much of negativity, so much of stuff going on. But I changed my perception on how I look at the news, and I found gratitude in watching the news. I found, because a lot of stuff that's going on that's not affecting me, I found gratitude in it and able to pray for the people that was going on for. Instead of looking at it like I don't want to see it, no, getting in touch with the gratitude, getting in touch with that could be you. Just staying in that conversation with everyone I contact with, everyone I'm in contact with. I stay in the conversation of recovery. I stay in the conversation of positivity. I find a blessing. I find a lesson in everything, because it's always I have good problems today. That's what I say. I have good problems today. I don't have the bad problems when I ran out. I got good problems today. I don't have to I don't have to have bad problems today. They could be good problems, and I can find gratitude in everything that comes my way today.
Okay. I'm Dr. Boshby Jordan Jr., pastor and founder of Hope Alive Outreach, and we're here today bringing a message of hope, especially hope to those persons who suffer from the disease of addiction, primarily drugs and alcohol. So if you have a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a loved one who needs some help and some hope, you can call us at 443-250-9635. That's 443-250-9635. We're here today bringing a message of hope to persons in the listening audience through this platform of Facebook Live, my website, hopealiveoutreach.org, and also YouTube, because we care about you and we want you to have the kind of life that we have today. If you'd like to get into treatment or you want to get into detox, you can email me at info@hopealiveoutreach.org. That's info@hopealiveoutreach.org. No matter where you are in the continental United States, if you want to get into treatment, you want to get into detox, you call the Hope Doctor and we'll see to it that you get some resources. It costs something for us to bring this message to you. And so if you'd like to donate to this cause with Hope Alive Outreach, you can send it to any one of the donation means that are on your screen right now through Hope Alive Outreach, PayPal, Cash App, Givelify, or you can go to our website, hopealiveoutreach.org, or you can send a check to the address on the screen. And the reason why we're doing this is because it costs something for us to bring this message of hope. I want to get back to something that Jihad mentioned earlier. Mentioned the higher power. How does prayer help you to stay sharp? It's mentioned in that 11th step. However, it runs through, I think it runs from the first step all the way through the 12th step. I don't think that any of us could have gotten clean or sober if we hadn't prayed and asked the higher power, somebody, to help us. How does prayer help our recovery to stay sharp?
Well, for me, understanding that, one thing about prayer, the 11th step talks about we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So when I pray, right, not only I pray, because I always pray, but I used to be just a monologue, but I had to set up a dialogue, and that's listening, and not only listening, reflecting on my higher power's handiwork and how He do what He do, and where He brought me, and what He got me through in the past. That's what gives me the hope and the beliefs. Like it's not only, it's about believing. See, in the second step, it talks about in the second step, it talks about coming to believe in a power greater than myself that can restore me. You know what I mean? So it talks about not going over this second step with a minimum concern. So understanding that once I believe and once I reflect on my higher power's handiwork and see the evidence of what He do and where He brought me from, it's not a doubt. So that's why I continue to pray and I continue to listen and I continue to reflect on where my higher power have brought me from and what He have done for the people around me.
Just a minute.
So that's why it's so important for me to not only pray but reflect and listen. This clear my mind. And reflect on what he do. And once and it's amazing. I get happy just thinking about it because I know where I've been, right? And I know what he have done in my life, and I can't doubt it. I can't doubt him because of where I'm at today. That's why I can't doubt him. What he has done. I've been shot 11 times. I lost my leg when I was 21. So, prayer is major. You must have a conscious contact in order to, keep going.
How many times you say you've been shot?
I got shot 11 times when I was 21.
And you say you lost your leg?
Yeah, I'm below the knee amputee.
I have a saying that I've been saying for a long time, and that is, the further down we went in our bottom, and the further down our higher power had to reach to bring us up, the higher he'll carry us on this journey, long as we stay there. How has prayer and higher power affected your recovery, your sobriety? To stay sharp. Nicole?
I keep going back to the phrase in the book about we allow a higher power to discipline us, because discipline is the thing that I did not have when I got here. You were not going to tell me what to do and how to do it. And that really made me right-sized. And that's what it does, is it reminds me that I am not the higher power, that I am not running anything, and that my reliance needs to be on a higher power. And I need that reminder every day. I do. And that reminder is what keeps me going from one day to the next, keeps me focused from one day to the next, and reminds me, of where I've come from as well.
Yeah. I have heard that if we forget where we've come from, we are doomed to repeat.
Yeah.
Doomed to repeat.
Yeah.
I was talking with a newcomer the other day, and he had relapsed, and now he's been back for a couple of months. And so they were giving out the key tags, and he said, "Well, I've got I don't know how long I've been here, but I'm just glad to be back." No, we need to remember. This is what the old timers used to tell me. You need to remember, reflect, Jihad.
Yeah.
When did I get here? I got here Friday, October the 13th, 1988. I need to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't remember when you came here, how are you going to know when to pick up the key tags or the medallions? How are you going to know? We need to remember. And I'm right there with you. We have to maintain a conscious contact on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
On a daily basis. If I could pray in my active addiction, if I could pray that dope fiend prayer, oh God, let the dope be good. Oh God, don't let the liquor store be closed before I get there. Remembering the time when I was hitting the pipe and hitting it hard, and all of a sudden it felt like my heart was going to jump out of my chest. Felt like I knew I was going to die, and I called on my higher power and said, "Oh God, here we go. If you just let me get out of this one, I will never smoke any more cocaine as long as I live." And I'm holding my heart. Holding it. And then it started easing out. The pain eased away. J-Hard, tell him the first thing that came out of my mouth.
Let me get one more.
Is there any more left?
I just want to take one more puff.
Is there any more left? And that's the same kind of intensity we have to do with prayer. God, is there any more you left? Are you there? Can you help me get through this? It doesn't have to be a long prayer. Maggie, are you still there? Okay, I think Maggie had to leave. But anyhow, how has prayer influenced you to stay sharp, Eric? How has your higher power influenced you to stay sharp?
Well, when I came into the program, I didn't really have a hard time with the higher power thing, but I just prior to that, I wasn't very connected at all with the higher power whatsoever. But like I said, I kind of came crashing in and I came into the program because I had a DUI but the whole point of that is it was pretty profound to me that there was a higher power looking after me and that it did indeed exist because, I didn't just get a DUI. I in the process of doing that, I drove the entire way home from where I was the wrong way on the highway, which, you see it on the news, these happen all the time and people die, and I didn't. I had I lived. I mean, obviously there was something watching over me because that doesn't just happen. So, when I got in here, I knew that there was a higher power. I wasn't sure what it was, and I'm a lot more connected now than I was then. But that made it pretty obvious that there was something out there.
How far did you drive, Eric? How far did you drive? How far did you drive the wrong way?
10 miles.
10 miles the wrong way. You had to have maybe 15, 20 angels got over
That's
you.
what I'm
10
saying.
miles?
That stuff doesn't happen.
What state were you in?
I was in St. Pete.
My goodness.
Yep. So,
what highway was it? It wasn't 275. No, you're kidding me.
Yep.
You drove 10 miles the wrong way on 275?
Yep, I sure did.
Anytime that you ever think about taking a drink, I would think about that. Matter of fact, I would sing a song, 10 miles on 275. I would remember.
Luckily I wouldn't say luckily, but because of my job, I wound up being on the 5 o'clock news the next day. So I did save that. So if I ever need to remind myself, I can just play that again. It's recorded. But like what you're asking about, taking that time each day to communicate or listen or just spend that time in quiet meditation with my higher power, that's my time to really just kind of clear my head and forget everything that I've been dealing with during the day and thank my higher power, whether it's the beginning of the day that I'm up, whether it's the end of the day that I made it through the day sober and without causing too much destruction. For me, it's just that time to kind of process everything not in my head, but just kind of clear my head and kind of give myself that pause, I don't know, it helps me. It helps me a lot to have that time, It's a busy world and you need that time just to pause for a minute and have that connection. I do anyway.
Yes.
That goes a long way for me. I get crazy otherwise. I really do.
Yes. Okay. Maggie, are you back there now? Well, anyhow, Maggie, unmute yourself, please. Unmute. So the question is, how has your recovery depended upon your higher power? How has your higher power helped to keep you sharp? Maggie? Well, I can recall I was at a friend of mine's. I was at a friend of mine's anniversary. This has been 11, 12 years ago. And after the anniversary, we went out to eat at a seafood place. And we had a banquet room and a big round table. And I was sitting next to the honoree. And so we're eating shrimp and crabs and all that sort of thing. And we got into this conversation about prayer. And he said something to me I'll never forget. He said, that's the first thing I do every morning. I said, the first thing. He said, yeah. I said, before you go to the bathroom? He said, yeah. I said, before you brush your teeth? He says, yeah. He said, I roll out of bed on my knees. I roll out of bed on my knees. And I said, wow. So the next morning, I tried that. I pulled the covers back and rolled out of bed on my knees. And I've been doing that ever since. Ever since. And I say the same prayer every morning. Thank you, God, for another day. And help me to give somebody some hope today, and let somebody give me some hope. And then I spend time later on. We've come to the
And it's
close about.
important to remember you do that by staying connected with other people in the program.
Yes. Yeah. Before we close tonight, we've had some persons who are listening, and they're listening now to our conversation on keeping our recovery sharp. I'd like for you, each one, to give a minute of hope to the persons who are listening. I want to start with you, Eric. Eric, and then Nicole, then Jihad. Maggie, are you here? Okay, go ahead, Eric.
I would just say, the biggest thing for me is learning my system. When you get into the program, start collecting the tools, start building your toolbox, and keep doing that. The stuff can change. I mean, what you have in your toolbox doesn't have to stay there. You can switch stuff out. You can, you can use whatever you have to, but figure out what your system is. And for me, I'm a very systematic person. I actually, on my phone in my Samsung Notes, I have the list of stuff that I do each day, and I check it off each day because I like to see that. It's an accomplishment for me. And if I'm getting too crazy during a day or I'm getting too in my head, I start over. I start from the beginning again. And it's the stuff we've all talked about, connecting with my higher power, doing some literature review, doing some meditation, talking to another alcoholic, going to a meeting if that's what's happening that day. But that's what it is. That's figure out your system, put it in place, and use it.
Okay.
And no, it may need to change over time. It doesn't have to stay the same from day to day. I mean, it can change and it can adjust as time goes by. We grow, and what we need can change.
Thank you so much. Maggie, are you there now? She's going in and out. Nicole?
A meeting on Tuesday with 3 newcomers. One was coming up on a year, one had 30 days, one had 60 days. All of these women got sober in a pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, that is huge. And that if there are people out there that can get and stay sober in a pandemic, then we all have a little hope, most definitely. And so for anyone who's looking or trying to stay sober, remember that it's possible and that we are here, and all you've got to do is reach out, and someone is going to be there.
Yes. And I want to say to somebody out there, even though the suicide rate is up, also, there's another way. Hold on. Jihad?
Well, it's just if you out there and you struggling, and I say connect with the people, get with the people, and ask for help. Like Dr. Basher said, he gives out his number. He call the number, contact the people, get in touch with the people and connect. Nicole shared about it, how like I know people that got 7 months clean through the pandemic. Like, they don't know what it's like to be in an in-person meeting All they know is the Zoom meeting. So connect to the Zoom meetings. You will get your spirit fed. You will get help. So that's the key right there. That number. Reach out to the people, connect with the people, and ask for help. Don't let it be a weakness. Let it be a strength. Just ask for help.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Maggie, are you there yet? Can you hear me? Well, you said to connect with the people. There's a saying that I have. Grand Diva Williams has making a comment. She says, yes. Yes. Okay, her comment. All right. And
That's
the
my
saying,
friend.
really, yes, from Philly. Philly in the house. All right. All right. You know, when I was living in Baltimore, and I was running a men's recovery house there, and I said, treat me like the dope man, only call me the hope man. Yeah. Well, I want to thank. All right. She says, absolutely there, Jihad. Yeah. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I want to thank all of you all for taking your time out to be with us here tonight. And my prayer is that God will continue to bless each and every one of you in your recovery, and that you all will be the power of example to somebody else, and that somebody else might see the way in which you walk and watch what you do and begin to pattern themselves after you. Those of you all who are listening, if you want to get in contact with me, you can email me at info@hopealiveoutreach.org. That's info@hopealiveoutreach.org. If you want to contact me directly, you can call me at 443. Just like Jihad said, get that number. If you can get the number to the dope man, you can take this number to the hope man. That's right. 443-250-9635. 443-250-9635. And also, if you want to make a donation to Hope Alive Outreach, we carry the message of hope all over this country, not just here in St. Petersburg, Florida. We minister to people around the world. You can donate to either Cash App, PayPal, through a major credit card, however you choose. But no matter what medium that you use, it will be utilized to the glory and honor of God. Well, I want to say farewell to Eric. Thank you for flying in from Indianapolis by way of this. Yeah, Maggie, you there? Okay, we see you, and we see you even though we can't hear you. Thank you for being with us tonight, Maggie, and from New York by way of St. Pete, and also Eric and Jihad from Philly. Thank God for all of you, and Nicole.
Yeah.
Yes. Maggie, is that you? Okay, I can see you. All right. All right. Well, we have to get ready to go now, Maggie, but thank you for being with us. I'm Dr. Jordan. And remember, no matter what's going on with you today, there is hope for you. I'm the Hope Doctor. Have a great day.